Merry Christmas, guys! So we are now approaching the year end, and what a year it has been for Philippine pageantry. Although we haven't won crowns in major international pageants, there are still so many lessons and insights to be learned from our journey this year. One of which is sending contestants who are considered to be breaking stereotypes in their respective competitions. Because this really seems to be the underlying theme of our battle cry for this year's pageantry, that once in a while, our country, through our esteemed national pageant organizations, is brave enough to break the so-called stereotype or the standard of beauty when it comes to fielding contestants in this year's pageantry, in this year's world of pageantry. And for this content, let me try to deep dive about by giving out reasons on this particular theme, which made Philippine pageantry more exciting to follow than ever this year. So first reason why I think that we're breaking stereotypes this year is because the Filipino beauty is diverse. Because our nation has always been known for having some of the best looking women around the world, thanks to the number of beauty pageant title holders that we have amassed over the last 3 decades. And more than the intensive training our Filipina queens undergo, it's really the so-called Filipino beauty which has attracted pageant organizations to discover it more through our culture and traditions. However, kasi when we talk about the so-called Filipino beauty, there seems to be no distinctive look because of its intersectionality brought by history and culture. Brought by our history and culture. And with our country widely colonized by different nations in the past, it's no wonder Philippine pageantry has seen so many different facial beauties over the years. There are the morenas, the mestizas, the chinitas, the mulatas, and now a groundbreaking Filipina candidate of African descent in the most prestigious pageant, Miss Universe. So it's really diverse. The Filipino beauty is really unique on its own because there is no distinctive look that equates it, and such is the true testament to the unparalleled beauty of the Filipino women, especially now in this modern time. And embracing the diversity of the Filipino beauty has now included challenging stereotypes while celebrating their uniqueness and individualities through our cultural heritage. Which now leads me to my second point, which is for our national organizations, for our national pageant organizations, ready to take risks by challenging the norm or stereotype. May sense ba ako? For our national pageant organizations to take risks, ready to take risks by challenging the norm or stereotype. And so with this acknowledgement of there is no distinctive Filipina look, it seems that our various national pageant organizations have been emboldened to experiment or tweak on the winning formula by sending out-of-the-box candidates to international competitions this year. So, for example, this year we saw the Miss Universe Philippines organization making yet another history by crowning a Filipina of African descent in its roster. This, because if you think about it, this is not the first time that the organization has crowned an unconventional type of Filipina beauty on its roster. Since the MUPH inception back in 2020, it has broken boundaries and challenged the stereotype of the Filipina beauty with the ladies that it has crowned. On its sophomore edition, Bea Luigi Gomez is the first openly bisexual woman to be crowned Miss Universe Philippines. And 2 years after, celebrity Michelle D also had a similar narrative when she revealed that she is also a bisexual. And so if there is a common denominator that we are seeing from our recent Miss Universe representatives, it's that they are bold and brave in owning their narrative, which is a far cry from the usual shy and demeanor reflected on our representatives many decades ago. And so these girls like Michelle and Bea really asserted control and dominance in their own right, which definitely made their respective pageant journey very interesting to follow. So similarly, our most beloved and highly revered Binibining Pilipinas pageant has noticeably started bucking the trend as well in their own right when it comes to choosing its representative for its top crown now, which is the Miss International pageant. And while many Filipino pageant fans and enthusiasts believe that A fair-skinned mestiza looking Filipina has a higher chance of winning or placing in this contest, Binibining Pilipinas or BPCI has definitely defied the odds by crowning two alluring vampy morena beauties out of Angelica Lopez and Mirna Pandilio in its recent editions, back to back. This observation among pageant fans about Binibining Pilipinas also carries over at how an equally vampy and fierce Krishna Gavrides was perceived before winning the Miss World Philippines crown earlier this year. And so a lot of people thought Krishna was taking a huge risk in joining Miss World Philippines given her previous mold or look in another national pageant. But she prevailed in the end, not without conforming or changing her strategy to suit the ideals and mold of a typical Miss World contestant, which is sweet and princessy. So whether it's just coincidence or just simply crowning all these ladies because they are the highest scoring ladies of their actual respective competitions actually means one thing, that our national pageant organizations are fair and would not mind or hesitate in crowning deserving ladies regardless of their looks and packaging. Because after all, which leads to my number 3 point, which is we are a beauty powerhouse country after all. This could be highly speculative or an afterthought on my part, but yes, come to think of it, our nation being considered a powerhouse in the beauty pageant landscape could contribute to this theme or outcome that we have in pageantry this year. And as a nation winning crowns in all pageants across the world, it makes us not want to rest on our laurels, so to speak. And as a beauty pageant powerhouse, we could now afford to experiment and deviate from the beauty norm and still get the hype and the press and still be talked about it. Probably now part of being a beauty powerhouse nation is constantly pushing boundaries or pushing the envelope, so to speak. So to keep challenging the norm is somehow a definition of our beauty ideals evolving as a nation. We now open our eyes to a whole new possibilities that might have not been tried before. And that adds up to the whole anticipation and excitement leading up to the finale. And while this different formula has not yielded or harvested crowns for us this season, this surely is worth highlighting because it really sends a strong message to everyone, not just the contestants, that they don't need to fit a certain mold to empower many people and be considered beautiful to represent our land. Pageants have now become a way of life, which could extend its relevancy in this day and age. And now we go to my last reason why we are so brave to challenge the beauty ideals or stereotype of the world of pageantry. And it's because I'm all giving it back to you guys. It's because we have a strong fan base to support our ladies in the competition. Yup, tayo ang unsung heroes of this content. We have a strong fan base to support our ladies in the competition. This reason could also be considered an afterthought, but as I think about it, it just makes more sense. Defying the odds in doing certain work requires massive support from its audience or people. And part of the reason why our national organizations are never afraid in defying the beauty ideals of its mother pageant from time to time is its belief that we are a united nation when it comes to supporting our queens in their international competitions. And despite our different bets in terms of who should win, who to win these top crowns, we eventually set aside our beliefs and differences in cheering and supporting our representatives in their respective contests. Whether it's just simply supporting them through our engagement in the comment section, resulting to trending, to spending time and actual money to vote and campaign for our representatives in these numerous online voting endeavors of all these international competitions, there's no doubt that our bayanihan spirit is very much alive. And it is us, fans, who keep the momentum alive. It is us who give our all every pageant season. And apart from the strong merits of our ladies abroad, Our overwhelming support makes our country a strong contender internationally from the get-go. With our contestant with our constant wins from different international pageants comes our fandom being more aggressive in terms of logistics and support. And if even if we did not win in all these major pageants this year, we are comforted by the fact that a Filipina has represented us with honor and grace, which make them good role models for our youth to follow in our society. And such is the power of our fandom as we provide the backbone of our candidates' strategy and campaign despite the odds. So take a bow, Filipino pageant fans. We really contribute a lot to a girl's life-changing journey in pageantry.